I'm going to share with you and read from my chapter today on stress on the highly sensitive person moving beyond surviving to thriving. A lot of us tend to be highly sensitive people, empaths and intuitives, and I feel, as I could speak for myself on this, I am one of those, and I'll tell you, it's sometimes it's too peoply out there for me, and I just have to kind of pull myself back and cocoon, if you so say that. But I enjoy my self company, and it actually helps me immensely, so I could recharge my own batteries. That's actually part of my self care. But anyway, so I would love to start reading here, and this is the book. For those of you who have not purchased this yet, I invite you to click on the link and get yourself a copy, and maybe get, if you're thinking for holiday presents for people, you know, especially people that maybe you work with or even family members, this would be perfect. Because being in healthcare today, I could speak from that venue, it's been the ultimate of stress, especially handling the pandemic and being on the front lines in what I do. So without further ado, I'm going to start reading. I'm laughing because I'm getting this visual about, okay, the fireplace, and you know, everybody gets cozy with their comforters and stuff like that, and maybe get their beverage of choice. I'm drinking coffee myself. But anyway, we're going to get started. Chapter 25, Stress and the Highly Sensitive Person. Moving beyond surviving to thriving. By Dr. Dolores Fazzino, DMP RN, the nurse practitioner and medical intuitive. My story. We have all been there, at least I have. When you are born a very sensitive child, you feel everything. My world was an endless exploration of my senses and emotions. I was a sponge absorbing all the emotion in my environment. I felt everything at a very deep level and felt that it was my job to fix it all. I thought this was normal, and not until I started exploring and healing my childhood issues did I realize that this was anything but normal. I would get emotional, feel situations very deeply, and take things on as my own without knowing it. With no reference point or manual to decipher how to be on Earth, I muddled through my childhood, often misunderstood, not valued or appreciated, and very sad. I remember feeling out of sorts and not knowing how to fit in. I wanted what any child would want, to be loved, seen, valued, and appreciated, particularly by their parents, and was not receiving this. It was a very depressing time for me. I grew up in the 1960s, a time where everything had to be perfect. You worried about what the neighbors thought about you, and it was all about appearances. Everything on the outside looked perfect, yet on the inside, it was another story. It was not safe to let others see your feelings, so you did not do so because having feelings and emotions were considered a weakness. Feeling, oh, you just did not do that, particularly in my parents' home. Little did I know at that time that this was considered normal. This was not considered normal as well. I was born into a world that does not feel their feelings or their emotions, and are being judged, criticized, and even labeled as abnormal if you did. These emotions were stuffed or ignored or internalized and even intellectualized, but rarely felt and experienced. My parents just did not know what to do with me and my sensitivity. My mom's solution for me when I was feeling sad or uncomfortable was to ignore it. It'll go away, were her words. Unfortunately, this was not the case for me, and as I tried to ignore what I was feeling, it would get even more intense. It was not going away. My mother's coping mechanism for things she did not want to experience was to ignore it. I concluded my mother had a difficult childhood by putting the pieces together from stories shared from Mom's side of the family. It sounded to me as if my grandfather was an alcoholic. When I confronted my mother with this, she said that he was not, because if there was no money, he would not drink, and if there was money, he would. That was not her definition of what an alcoholic was. However, my grandfather was a binge drinker and alcoholic. Now it was making complete sense as to why she acted the way she did. She suffered so much pain and anguish as a child, her coping mechanism was to ignore things and pretend that they were not there. My mother finally admitted at age 60 that her father was an alcoholic, and now her behavior and coping mechanisms were making complete sense to me, and her healing journey began. My mom passed away at the age of 79 from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. As a medical intuitive, I was not surprised, since she spent a lifetime ignoring her emotions, particularly the difficult ones. And since emotions are energy, when they are ignored, suppressed, internalized, and even intellectualized, the unexpressed energy from the emotion becomes trapped and stored in the body. It can create disease and/or illness. Once experienced, emotions become energetically neutral, with no lasting impact on a person's physical body. In my mom's case, I believe these emotions were trapped in her body and held in the pancreas. The late Louise Hay, the motivational author, claims the cause of symptoms for pancreatic cancer is not enjoying the sweetness of life. I came into this world as an empath, intuitive, and highly sensitive person. I really did not know what all of this meant until I started my own personal growth journey in my 30s. The triggering event for me was having a panic attack. I had been under so much stress as to please others, fix others, and do what I could do to be perfect, that I pretty much snapped. I also could not figure out why my life was not working while everyone else's was. I became severely depressed and knew that I needed help. Interestingly, as I asked for help, the universe would provide opportunities for me to explore and learn more. I continued to follow their lead and still do to this day. Through my journey, I have learned that what I was experiencing was a lack of strong energetic boundaries. It made complete sense to me. There was nothing wrong with me, yet I was feeling the collective consciousness of the masses. The collective consciousness is a massive energetic form that contains all thoughts, beliefs, and emotions of individuals and the general population. We can agree that everything is energy, as defined by the laws of quantum physics. Every experience that each of us has is an energetic one. Like radio waves and other invisible waves, our thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are energetically charged. Our responses continually contribute to the collective consciousness. For example, if you are angry and hostile, the energy moves into the universe to collective consciousness. The following visual will assist you in better demonstrating this concept. Imagine your anger and hostility as a pebble, which represents you and these emotions. Next, imagine that this pebble is dropped into a still body of water, which will represent collective consciousness. Notice that as the pebble contacts the body of water, it creates a ripple in the still body of water, interacting with the body of water or collective consciousness. This is how each of us contributes our energy to the collective consciousness. What makes it more challenging is being an empath, intuitive, and highly sensitive person, or what we call an HSP. This is so because you do not only feel your responses, you also feel the responses of others in the collective consciousness. This is where energetic boundaries come into play and are necessary to decrease the stress one is receiving and experiencing. Now, if you are an empath, intuitive, and highly sensitive person, you tend to feel things at a much deeper level than other people. People with this trait are the energetic feelers of humanity. They speak a different language and are fluent in feeling and reading energy. We are here on Earth to help humanity return to the lost art of feeling and experiencing emotions. A challenge for this group is personal boundaries, which tend to be enmeshed with other people's boundaries. Unconsciously, these people tend to take on other people's energy or collective consciousness and have difficulty discerning their stuff from someone else's. You may feel anxious, emotional, stressed out, or uncomfortable for no obvious reason. As I progressed with my personal growth, I learned many tools and tricks to assist with creating energetic boundaries. As a healthcare provider for many decades, energetically, I took on others' emotional energy from collective consciousness each time I walked into the hospital setting. It was anxiety-producing and stressful. Having an arsenal of tools in my toolkit was essential to my energetic health and well-being and to decrease or eliminate the stress I was experiencing. 95% of the time, what I was experiencing was not mine. Have you ever felt that you are experiencing many different emotions in a short period with not having any reason to be experiencing them? You are not alone. I have had this experience and thought I had gone mad or cray-cray as I experienced 50 shades of emotion. Let me remind you that you are not going crazy. You are taking on other people's emotions and tapping into collective consciousness. I knew that I needed to find a way to make this all go away so I could move beyond surviving to thriving. I knew that I needed to find a way to make this all go away. I learned about the laws of the universe and free will as a human being. Since humans are here on Earth with free will, nothing can interfere with you or your energy field unless you allow it. Interestingly, much of this unwanted invitation is on an unconscious level, meaning we are not aware this is happening. We are not aware that we are allowing this to happen. And in quote, nothing can come into your space energetically unless it is invited in, and this is from the laws of the universe. So we're going to move on to the tool, and as I read here, I like to keep my tools as simple and easy to use as possible. My philosophy is less is more. My go-to tool to discern what is mine versus someone else's energetically is one of the laws of the universe. The tool is very simple yet effective. When you are feeling overwhelmed and stressed, do the following. Stop what you're doing. Take a deep breath. Say the following out loud or to yourself. If this is not my stuff, by the laws of the universe, remove yourself from my space immediately. Surprisingly, whatever uncomfortable feeling I might have been experiencing leaves, and I return to feeling at peace. Everything flying around in collective consciousness these days, anger, rage, hate, fear, lack, etc., all of which we are part of, can be a minefield. Even though the stress, anxiety, and other emotions are invisible to the human eye, they are very much there energetically. Being an empath, intuitive, and highly sensitive person myself, and working in the hospital setting for decades, I experienced collective consciousness firsthand. I would enter the hospital and feel completely drained, energetically spent, and fatigued. It was not until I realized how irritable I was, or sad or angry, that I realized it was not me at all, but the environment that I had entered. When I started declaring to the universe that nothing was allowed to enter my energy field without my permission, I felt as if protective armor was surrounding my energy field and me. It allowed me to return to a neutral, peaceful, and serene place within myself. I felt empowered, safe, and secure. This was a complete game changer for me, so I invite you to try it for yourself. I continue to utilize this tool as needed in my life, some days more than others. We are all on our paths. Just a reminder, we are all works in progress. Being aware is the first step to being able to make a shift or change. Let's recap. If you are unsure about what you are experiencing or feeling, declare to the universe, if this is not my stuff, by the laws of the universe, remove yourself from my space immediately, and you will feel your world shift. You've got this. I'm not sure if I should read about me, but oh, what the heck. Just a little bit about me at the end here. I'll read this from the book. Dr. Dolores Fazzino, DMP, is a nurse practitioner, medical intuitive, and distinguished pioneer bridging the world of spirituality and wellness. With over 40 years of experience in the healthcare industry, she has assisted with over 13,500 surgical procedures. Gifted since she was a child with intuitive abilities, she's a master energy healer, medical intuitive, and visionary. She's always been on the cutting edge. Dr. Fazzino believes healing is a multifaceted process. By unraveling the energetic discord in her client's life, she assists her clients to heal in ways they never thought possible, integrating the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical aspects of themselves to create lasting health and wellness. After witnessing the miraculous healing of her father's physical condition as a young adult, Dr. Fazzino has dedicated her life to assisting people to heal in ways they never thought possible. She is an entrepreneur and creator of Spiritual Wellness for Life and Recovering Healthcare. Dr. Fazzino takes us beyond the mind-body paradigm to include spirituality and wellness. This distinguished wellness practitioner offers customized program strategies to prepare patients through combining traditional medicine, energy healing, and intuitive counseling to assist clients in moving through their challenges and reconnecting with their inner self with grace and ease. In addition to being a Wellness Universe author, she has also authored other books, 54 Tips to Maneuver Through the Healthcare System and Spiritual Wellness for Life. Her next book, Healing in Ways You Never Thought Possible, will be available spring of 2021. So I thank everybody for listening. And if you have any questions or anything, I'm here to answer them. I'm going to scroll down to see who's here. Okay. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Anna again. Gosh, I have 10 minutes. What am I going to do with myself? Anyway, more on a serious side, I think in reflecting back on 2021, or reflecting back on 2020, we're almost on the cusp of 2021. this has been a year of such opportunity and growth. And I know there's been not so many pleasant things that people have been experiencing. Maybe you've lost a job, maybe a relationship has changed, maybe you've gotten sick. I don't know. Maybe you've lost members of your family or know people who have passed away from the whole COVID thing. You know, there's a bigger thing going on with this whole COVID thing. And my personal take on this is that, I think we needed a grand reset for humanity. And for so long, we've been on the merry-go-round of doing, 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 doing. And, many of us have realized that we wanted to get off the merry-go-round, but just didn't know how, or we were afraid to. And so the universe, with this whole COVID issue, kind of created the opportunity for us to really stop the doing modality. When you look back in March and April, when everything came to a screeching halt, there was no more doing. We just had to embrace being, which is kind of interesting, because that is where our true alignment comes, is when we're allowing ourselves to just be. And when we're being, we're actually in our physical body. When we're in our physical body, we actually experience life's richnesses in the moment, instead of being in your head and thinking about what you have to do next. And I think it was a challenge for a lot of people, especially when you've been brought up to feel and know that doing was a very regimented part of your life. I mean, yes, I'm not saying that doing is not important, but there has to be a balance. There has to be a dance between doing and being. And a lot of times what we need to do is just stop and just be with ourselves. Having a relationship with ourselves. How many times do we distract ourselves from being with ourselves? I mean, let's face it, the longest relationship you're ever going to have is the one you have with yourself. But you're avoiding, spending time with yourself to getting to know who you are. And so I really feel that we've come into a renaissance of, being who we truly are and embracing that, collecting back all our parts that we've given away unconsciously to other people. In forms of giving away your power, maybe on a simplified version of, just, doing things that you don't want to do, but you feel obligated to do. A part of you goes with that. So, what I want to say as I kind of come around and kind of close a little bit is that, we're all doing the best we can. We will get through this. We will look different when we come out of this. I love using the analogy of throwing your laundry into the washing machine. It looks a certain way, and it goes in the washing machine, and it's, filling up with water, and it's like spinning around and washing, and then, the final rinse, and you're spinning dry, and you come out, and it looks completely different. That's what it's going to be like. And I just invite people to show up the way they want to be. Not about, and doing it from a real deep part of themselves, of really getting to know who they are and just standing in their own power and alignment. And I really want to wish everybody the happiest of holiday seasons. And, use this time to reflect and go within and create what you really want. I think it's such an important time right now, because we're kind of cocooning and, being cozy, and we're even more cocooning because you can't really go out anywhere. Just a short sidebar, I was out with a girlfriend of mine yesterday. We did some holiday shopping, and we were not hungry, hangry. And unfortunately, nothing was open. It was kind of interesting, and so you had to modify and do things differently. We did find a place, and we got to order our stuff, but we asked if we could eat it outside, in their patio, and they said, well, just pretend we don't see you, because technically we're not allowed to do that. So we just went in there and ate our meal and left. But it's interesting times, and I think, and I know we're going to be better for whatever we're experiencing. And Anna, happiest holidays to you. Sherry, great to see you. I hope things are well with you and yours. And I'm going to get ready to sign off. So blessings, and remember, you've got this.